In college, a night without sleep leads to a horrible next morning. You start out with multiple cups of coffee just to be able to keep your eyes slightly propped open. Then you walk like a zombie to class, where you zone out altogether with that glossed over look in your eye, thinking about how good sleep would feel in that moment. You aren't paying attention in class in the slightest, so why are you even there? Sleep deprivation is very common on college campuses, especially for freshmen. Here at Penn State, I have personally experienced multiple nights without sleep, and from talking with my fellow freshmen, they have as well. I am not the only student here that thinks sleep deprivation in freshmen at Penn State is a problem. According to a survey I conducted on Sunday, July 30th, of 20 students, the majority got less than 5 hours of sleep per night, and 18 of the 20 students admitted to feeling sleep deprived. I also conducted an interview on July 31st with Lila Rocky, a freshman at Penn State, concerning her experience on sleep deprivation.
My name is Lila Rocky, and I'm currently a freshman at Penn State. Probably ranging from 4 to 5 hours. Yeah. Yeah, I'd say if I hadn't gotten a lot of sleep the next day, I'm usually pretty crabby and standoffish. Really, the fact that I have a hard time falling asleep because I'm in a new environment. It's very stressful to be away from my family for so long, and then to have schoolwork and like living on my own on top of that, it's hard to fall asleep. Definitely. I think if I had talked to my RA and gotten some tips on how to better fall asleep as a freshman and deal with my situation, then I probably wouldn't struggle with sleep deprivation as much as I do now.
Starting college and moving away from home is a huge transition for a teenager to face. Some moments it's the best time of your life, while other moments you just want to give up and go home. College freshmen have so many changes and challenges to overcome, and lack of sleep should not be one of them. Sleep deprivation in college freshmen at Penn State is caused by multiple factors. To start, as a freshman, you are on your own for the first time and you have more freedom than ever before, and suddenly no one to tell you how to spend your time. Therefore, you end up sacrificing your sleep. Next, classes, socialization, and extracurricular activities are very demanding for a freshman to balance, so sleep is often neglected as a priority. Lastly, freshmen have to acclimate to a brand new environment, which can often be loud, making falling asleep even harder. The consequences of Penn State freshmen not getting enough sleep are threefold. First, lack of sleep has a huge impact on learning, and without the right amount of sleep, students' learning abilities are significantly impaired. Next, lack of sleep for freshmen here at Penn State will negatively affect their mood, which then, in turn, will affect their want and ability to make friends and have a good time at college. Lastly, lack of sleep in students tends to lead to them drinking copious amounts of caffeine in order to stay awake, which they then become addicted to. As of now, there is no action being taken to inform freshmen at Penn State about the dangers of sleep deprivation or to prevent sleep deprivation. The fact that there are no measures in place to warn freshmen of the seriousness of sleep deprivation is not right and only hurts them in the long run. Making a change to better inform freshmen is a great idea that will allow them to do better in class and have a better experience at Penn State. Because sleep deprivation's harsh consequences aren't very familiar to freshmen here at Penn State, the RAs should implement an advisory talk to their assigned students about the dangers of sleep deprivation. Making students more aware of the dangers of sleep deprivation will help them to prevent it from happening to them, which will make them better students with better health. This solution covers all three of the topics because the RAs would provide advice catered to the causes of sleep deprivation and how to avoid falling into its dangerous pattern. To be able to reach this solution, it will take multiple steps. The first is to contact Mark Raymaker, who is the Senior Director of Residence Life. As Senior Director of Residence Life, he has the authority as well as the resources to task all freshman RAs to provide this advisory discussion about the dangers of sleep deprivation. I would inform him of the seriousness of the issue and persuade him to take action. The next step would be for Mark Raymaker to contact all freshman RAs and explain that they are to have this discussion with the freshmen they are assigned. He would detail what exactly they need to address, which is the causes and effects of sleep deprivation in college freshmen here at Penn State. He would also tell them to provide any possible personal insight on the topic they could to reach the freshmen on a personal level. This requires the labor of both Mark Rainmaker as well as the freshman RAs, but it won't cost any money considering that providing talks and advice already falls into the RA's job description. The last step would be for the freshman RAs to go through with the advisory discussion on sleep deprivation and to answer any questions the freshmen may have. It would also be beneficial for the RAs to include tips to avoid lack of sleep. An RA, or resident assistant, serves many roles, such as mediator, event planner, and authority figure. But most importantly, RAs are student leaders, who are responsible for making a difference for their students. According to Macy Corcoran, another freshman at Penn State, her RA's advice has made all the difference. She states that in her experience, her RA, Frances Gladys, has offered invaluable advice that has significantly helped her transition to college. Freshmen are scared to be by themselves, so having an RA to rely on and get advice from is crucial. Because RAs are so close in age and have gone through being a freshman recently, current freshmen are more likely to take their advice seriously. An alternative to this idea would be to include the dangers of sleep deprivation in the first-year seminar class that is required for all freshmen here at Penn State. Including this lesson in this class would be effective because they are getting the information. However, it is coming from an unknown professor and in a class that many students may get distracted in. The information would come across much clearer and stick better coming from a relatable RA who has recently gone through the trials and tribulations of being a freshman at Penn State. To conclude, not getting enough sleep is hard on anyone, but is significantly harder to deal with and easier to succumb to as a freshman here at Penn State. So many different things are happening, including an overwhelming schedule, more freedom, and a completely new environment. The lack of sleep that consumes freshmen makes their time at Penn State less enjoyable, creates an addiction to caffeine, and makes their performance in class worse. Therefore, it's important to inform freshmen at Penn State to prevent them from going through the horrible effects of sleep deprivation.